Was reading. Is this in your reading list, Tom?
Ah, it isn't, but that is a copy of Aham Sphurana you have there, just for
Yeah.
everyone else. And that is a edited version of the text you've bought. And there's an unedited version. Have you seen, I mean, it's not so good for traveling to the Sierras with the unedited version. It's huge. It's massive.
This is not that bad.
Yeah, that's quite good. Yeah. But I was talking to someone today, I think it was. Yes, it was today. Um, And Aham Surana, the teachings in that are fantastic for the most part. You know, please read.
So, the poetry's been so beautiful. This is not poetry that I'm going to share. This is Mrs. Piggot introduces Bhagavan and the ashram. And it was a beautiful, it's just her going to the ashram in 1935 and meeting Bhagavan. And I was reading it, and my friend Jason came out, and I was crying. It just brought me to tears. I felt very jealous of her as well. Like I wish I was born, in 1900 so I could have.
If she
Um,
could see you in the Sierras and your, log
yeah,
cabin,
right. But the part that moved me was, so she had several moments when she got to sit with Bhagavan, and just her descriptions of him throughout the day were so beautiful. Like him feeding some squirrels that came onto his couch, him being so natural and unassuming, and she addressed him incorrectly. She used the wrong words and made a huge faux pas, and everybody was like shocked and horrified. And Ramana just laughed, right? He just laughed. Big, huge laugh, which just endeared her more um, to her. And in the evening, she was sitting with him, and she got Ramana's gaze. He gazed at her. And so I thought I would read just a couple paragraphs of that. Suddenly, I became conscious that Bhagavan's eyes were fixed on me. They seemed literally like burning coals of fire piercing through one. They glittered in the dim light of the charcoal brazier burning by the side of the sofa. Never before had I experienced anything so devastating. In fact, it was almost frightening. What I went through in that terrible half hour in a way of self-condemnation and scorn for the pettiness of my own life would be difficult to describe. Not that he criticized, even in silence, of that he was incapable, but in the light of perfection, all imperfections were revealed. To place on record how little responsible he was for my feelings, I must mention here that he told me later on that doubting, self-distrust, and self-depreciation are some of the greatest hindrances to self-realization of the reality.
And thank you, Lance. And just for emphasis, could you read that last sentence again for us, just so everyone can hear that again?
Yeah. To place on record how little responsible he was for my feelings, I must mention here that he told me later on that doubting, self distrust, and self deprecation are some of the greatest hindrances to the realization of the reality.
Wow. I've not heard that before.
That's the verse that made me cry.
Mm. But it is, I feel that's what I teach, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's something I teach. I've never heard it written anywhere before. It's wonderful. This is one of the things I thought was wonderful about Aham Sphurana is I read it and it's like it's in writing. And this is what I found with the recommended reading list books. I know that's not on the recommended reading list, but when I read them, it's like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I feel for not all of them, but for a lot of them. Very powerful.
Yeah, I felt that, like Jimmy, there was such synchronicity. And so when you were speaking
Mm,
earlier, it was,
yes,
it was the same thing.
exactly. I said this earlier on, didn't I?
Yeah.
About the need to have faith in yourself. Right at the beginning, I was saying this in my monologue. That's so wonderful to see that in writing.
Do you know who she is? Do you know anything about her?
No, do you?
No.
She is, I think she's mentioned in talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi as well. I think there's a Mrs. Pigot there. It does sound like one of those characters from a novel, doesn't it? An English novel. Suddenly, I became conscious that Bhagawan's eyes were fixed on me. They seemed literally like burning coals of fire piercing through one. They glittered in the dim light of the charcoal brazier burning by the side of the sofa. Oh, they capitalized the word sofa here. Guess they liked it. I think that they like that sofa. Never before had I experienced anything so devastating. In fact, it was almost frightening. What I went through in that terrible half hour, in a way of self-condemnation and scorn for the pettiness of my own life, would be difficult to describe. Not that he criticized, even in silence. Of that he was incapable. But in the light of perfection, all imperfections are revealed. In the light of perfection, all imperfections are revealed. To place on record how little responsible he was for my feelings, I must mention here that he told me later on that doubting, self-distrust, and self-deprecation are some of the greatest hindrances to the realization of the reality. This is a record of the further conversations I had with him on the day after my first arrival at the ashram. Question: is a realized master necessary for realization? Answer from Bhagavan: realization is the result of Guru's grace more than teachings, lectures, meditation, etc. They are only secondary aids, whereas the former is the primary and the essential cause. Thank you, Lance. Thank you so much, everyone. Have faith in yourself. Trust yourself. Have love for Bhagavan. Gratitude for him. He'll look after you. He'll keep you safe. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.